For those of you who know about rallying, you will know why the 205 T16 is legendary. For those of you who don't, here is a brief explanation. Before a car can be used in rallying, a certain number of road-going models have to be made and then put on sale for the general public. In the case of the Group B cars, only 200 of these were required, with this T16 being what Peugeot created. It has little in common with a normal 205, except from the styling. The engine has been moved from the front to the middle, while the power goes to all four wheels, making this the only mid-engined four-wheel drive hot hatch that I know of. To make this car possible to be used on everyday roads, it has been detuned from the massive 400 plus horsepower used in the rally car to a more manageable 200. The weight is also kept down, with the car weighing in at just 2,500 pounds. Put this all together, and what you get is probably the best handling four-wheel drive car of all time. If you ignore my little off-track excursion there. I'd even say the handling is near Lotus standard. The same things that make it great for rallying make it great for normal racetracks as well. The small wheelbase and low weight means the car is amazingly agile. You can literally throw it at almost any corner and it will find grip. Of course, me trying to explain this isn't very good, so we'll set up a little test. As you can see here, coming down this corner, the 205 hits 105 through the apex of that bit, and it will easily go up the hill. I don't even have to be on full steering lock. So, the car we're going to use is a John Cooper Works Mini. This is a sort of modern hot hatch, and as it comes down the hill it is doing about 105 again as we go through the apex, and as you can see there on full steering lock it still can't make it and sort of understeers wide. Now this is a bit of an unfair test. The Mini is a sort of more road legal hot hatch and not a rally monster. So this is what we're going to use next, a Lancia Delta again, similar to the 205. This is a road legal rally car in effect, made to allow the Delta to go rallying, and through the apex at 105 again, or there or thereabouts. It stays on the track, but it does go out very wide, and if you get the entrance slightly wrong with this car it will go off fairly easily. The handling is even more amazing considering that this car is four-wheel drive. A four-wheel drive system inherently generates understeer and tends not to be very forgiving. Yet this, if you come into a corner a bit too fast, there's so much grip you don't end up with major issues, and the same goes for taking a slightly wrong line. Yes, you're going to lose some time, but you're unlikely to end up on the grass unless you're really trying. Here on the autocross track is where the car is most at home. Diving in and out of the gates is incredible fun. This car is so good at it that I was competing in an A-class event and won it on the hardest difficulty setting. Straight line speed and acceleration aren't bad either, with a 0 to 60 time in under 7 seconds and a top speed of nearly 140. While the handling is near perfect, the car does have a couple of flaws. Firstly, the gearbox is horrendous. I'm not sure if the designers simply got bored after a done handling, but the ratios on here are utterly useless. I spent pretty much the whole time around Iberia in second or third gear. There is also, well, unsurprisingly, a large amount of turbo lag. Anything less than 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, there is a distinct lack of power. Add to that the stupid gearing, and getting this thing started is a little tricky. Also, down the straight, as you can see here, I'm in 4th gear, down the long Iberian straight, and there is pretty much no power. I would suspect for people who use an automatic gearbox, this car would be very tricky to drive. It's also not exactly cheap at 120,000 credits, considering most of its rivals are probably going to be under the £40,000 mark. But it certainly is worth the extra money. Put simply, this is by far the greatest hot hatch I've ever driven, and with a bit of time spent on the tuning, you get rid of most of the problems. Of course, we can't just leave it there, so it is down to the Stig to put it around our test track. Off the line, and well, as we expected, it is going to struggle until it gets past the sort of 5,000, 6,000 RPM mark. Now, this car is a sort of mid-C class, so it's not really going to trouble most of our leaderboards. However, it should be interesting to see how it compares to our modified Chrysler that we had around earlier. Into the first corner, and everything is all nicely controlled, Stig using all of the road there. Up to Chicago now, and again, everything is looking fairly controlled. Not particularly spectacular, there's no oversteer or understeer, no surprise really from this car. He can use some of the power down here, he'll have it buzzing in the rev limiter, he's interesting line through there. coming up to the Hammerhead now, where four-wheel drive and sort of front-wheel drive cars will tend to struggle, but he is keeping it all running a little bit wide actually, that's quite surprising, but keeps it all between the cones and everything. Coming down to the Hammerhead, and still he is in probably third gear here. Again, Stig didn't get this car out of third around here, sort of emphasising how stupid the gear ratios are, and easily flat out through there. Past the tyre wall, and is still going pretty quick actually. Now up to the second to last corner. This one is a very tricky corner on the track. Heavy on the brakes and turning nicely. There's no understeer, slightly sliding actually. And into the last corner, nicely under control and across the line. The 205 did a lap time of 1:29.6, which I'm a little bit disappointed. I would have liked for it to beat in the Chrysler, but I'm pretty sure with a bit of fiddling with the gear ratios, if you put a slightly different gearbox in, it could easily beat that time. So that is it folks, thank you very much for watching, so until next time, goodbye.